Hey there everybody. Today is Wednesday, June 24th. Welcome. My name is Ryan. I'm a CPA, and today I'm going to give you a stimulus package update and a second stimulus check update. But first, if you haven't done so already, I would really appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel to stay up to date with everything pandemic related at the moment, and also smash the like button when you have a moment to kind of help me out and show your support. Also, I would love it if you would comment below. Let me know if you have any questions about anything that's going on right now, and I'd love to know your favorite quarantine activity so far. Mine has been either indoor karaoke in my living room or riding my bike around. So I used to go to karaoke a lot. I have a crew that I went with, and now it's just been me, my significant other karaokeing it in the living room. It's been a lot of fun. Also, check out the description below. I usually have useful links to resources and a link to my Facebook group if you want to join and get more consistent updates there. So check out the description. Okay, so for the second stimulus check, there's been a lot of talks going around, $2,000 a month, $1,000 a month, a single $1,200 check again. And what's looking most likely is a $1,200 check. This was first introduced in the HEROES Act, which was introduced by the House maybe like 2 months ago. And then it passed the House, it moved on to the Senate, and it's been sitting in Senate for a while now. And they're probably trying to tear it apart and make changes to it before they pass it. But it's looking like another round of $1,200 checks is the most likely scenario that's going to happen. And obviously it's going to be restricted by income limits like the first round of stimulus checks. I'm not sure if it's going to be the same income limits. That's, everything is still in debate right now. There's also going to be payments for each dependent that you have. And at the moment, it's up to $1,200 per dependent with a maximum of 3 dependents. So that's going to be like up to $4,800, no, actually up to $6,000 of stimulus check if you're like a married couple with 3 kids, $6,000 at the moment. So not bad, right? Not bad. That can get you through maybe a month or 2 of expenses. But I really don't think it's enough. Okay, but I'll talk about that later. So if you haven't received your first stimulus check, you need to go to the IRS's website. It's called the Economic Impact Payment website. Look up the status of your payment. You hopefully should be able to enter your checking account information so that you can get that directly deposited. If you haven't done so already, go check it out. I'll have the link in the description below. So as I was saying, $1,200 is not much. One-time payment. It's going to get you through maybe a partial month. If you have kids, you're going to get more money, but obviously having the kids in itself are more expensive. So I hope they find a more long-term solution to this, like a monthly payment in some way. I mean, I'm going to be talking about the unemployment next, and I think unemployment is like a pretty decent program for this scenario. Like you have people choosing either to work or not work. The mandated shutdowns, there's debate about that, about whether it's ethical or constitutional, and I would rather have people have a choice, whether they want to work or not, or whether they want to go out or not. That should be their choice, but they should not be punished if they choose not to go out, if they choose not to work. And that's where something like unemployment can step in and really help those people if they choose not to work. So moving on to unemployment, at the moment, it seems like there's not gonna be an extension for the PUA program, because as of right now, it's ending on July 31st. But hopefully there is. But at the moment, that doesn't seem to be an extension that is likely. So that extra $600 a month for unemployment, that's likely gonna go away. I hope I'm wrong. If you've heard otherwise, please let me know in the comments. Then I'll be happy to address that in my next video. So unemployment for this purpose is a great program because that truly gives people a choice of whether or not they want to work. And if they don't, they get unemployment. And there's this debate going around that, like, yeah, if you pay somebody $600 a week on top of their regular unemployment, they're making more money than their jobs. That's gonna prevent them from going back to work, or that's not gonna motivate them for going back to work. And yeah, while that might be true, you know what else is motivating them to not go back to work? The freaking virus. You know, like, I think it sucks that people have to choose between, you know, economic prosperity and their life in this current situation. It's a tough decision, and making people choose between those two things is really difficult. You're putting them in a really tight spot. So, you know, yeah, they might not be motivated to go back to work, but I don't blame them. Like, I'm still working from home. All my staff is still working from home, just in case, you know. And we're in Colorado, and the area where we're in, we have decreasing number of cases at the moment, and we're still choosing to work from home because why the hell not? You know, I'm lucky that our business can be ran remotely, but there are people, you know, who have jobs that they can't do that. So they need to have the choice of either not working or working. And if they're not working, they still need to be able to provide for their family somehow. Okay, moving on. There's been a bill that's been introduced that is basically a second Paycheck Protection Program. It's called the Prioritized Paycheck Protection Program Act. This bill was introduced to help give an additional round of Paycheck Protection Program, basically, for business owners who have spent their initial PPP. It's going to be prioritized and targeted to businesses with less than 100 employees. And these businesses will have to prove or show that they've experienced at least a 50% loss in revenue due to the coronavirus. I'm not sure how that implementation is going to look like or how they're going to enforce that, but that's just what's being proposed right now. This bill also extends the deadline to apply for the first PPP from June 30th to December 31st. And, you know, June 30th is coming up in a few days, which means if you haven't applied for your PPP, like I said in one of my other videos, you gotta get your ass up and do it right now. But if this bill passes, it's gonna extend that. And so hopefully this bill gets quick momentum and quick movement through Congress. Along with the Paycheck Protection Program, as we all know, the funds that you use for qualifying expenses. If they're forgiven, then those expenses will not be tax deductible. The Senate introduced a bill a couple months ago to change that rule. However, that bill still has not made any movements. It's called the Safeguarding Small Business Act, and it's supposed to make changes to the CARES Act that allows for those forgiven funds to be tax deductible, but still no movement there. Okay, moving on to the EIDL loan, the EIDL. If you're not familiar with this, this is just a loan program provided by the SBA directly to business owners for working capital for their normal day-to-day expenses. There's also a grant or an advance component to it where it's just a free advance. You don't have to pay back. It's up to $10,000 for those of you joining that don't know. All we know right now is that the SBA is still intending on paying out those advances. Okay, they were paying them fairly decently in the first month or so, and as of lately, my clients and people all over YouTube have stopped receiving those advances. They've just been getting the loan offers, but no advances. And just want to let you know, they still intend on paying those out. They're just behind. There's still not much talks that I have heard of about extending the advance to the full $10,000, no matter who you are. You know, right now it's $1,000 per employee, up to $10,000, and there's been talks around YouTube, around the internet, that they will extend it to a full $10,000 for everybody, and this is not something I've seen or heard from like a legitimate news or legitimate government source. So I wouldn't hold my breath on that. I would just hold my breath on getting your actual EIDL advance at some point. Torpedo Joe, in my last video, asks, how do you correct your EIDL app if you made an error and didn't opt for the advance? Thanks for the question, Torpedo Joe. In order to correct errors on your application, if you haven't received the loan offer yet, then you can just apply again using the same EIN or same social security number that you used to apply originally. If you apply again, yeah, you'll get a new loan number. But from what agents told me is that you don't lose your spot in line when you do that, because they link up your EIN or your social security number. If you have multiple applications, they just link them together and they use the most recent application to go off of what they will process. So my answer to you there is, if you have not received your loan offer, just apply again using your same EIN or social and make any corrections on the new application, and they will use that as information for processing. That's all I got for today. Thank you so much for joining me. And again, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel and smash that like button. I'll see you tomorrow. All right, you take care for now, and see you then.